a substitute. Don't be misled. Like everything else on earth, wool has no equal.
Welcome to this edition of What's So Funny, the show that sets up camp in the wayward minds of Canada's funniest comedians. Tonight's guest has been described as, well, a cross between Jack Black and Meatloaf, and he's one of the few guys who can actually rock a mustache. It's Mr. Glenn Wool. And now, your host, the original bootlegger of comedy moonshine, Mr. Guy McPherson.
Hey. He can rock a mustache, that's true. But who said that you looked like, or you were a cross between Meatloaf and who was it, Colleen?
Well, I didn't write this, but
I know.
That's the reviews. I'm sure that Meatloaf and Jack Black.
And Jack Black.
Do you know that I explicitly told my management to take that out of my press pack because it's the one that I've had to answer for all over the world.
And there you go, and we
But-
picked it up tonight. Good
Yeah,
start to
you're
the
not
show.
you're not the first ones to do it. But as soon as I started hearing you, I was like, I know what's coming here.
Dang.
But it's not so that you don't like those performers, is it?
Well, neither of them are particularly funny. So
That's right. Well, what about Jack Black? He was in Tenacious D.
yes,
he was a comedic performer.
Yeah, but not in the same. It makes it
Not in
sound
the
like
same
I'm
way.
gonna sing or play an instrument or.
That's right. They're both musical guys.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say Jack Black's not funny. He's made me titter before, but it's nothing like me. It'd be like,
That's right.
he's like a cross between Yo-Yo Ma and Albert Einstein. No, I'm not like any of those people.
Yeah. Well, so who did that? Who wrote that?
Oh, the Illuminati, probably. I don't know. I don't read my press. I find out about it when I sit in a radio station and they go, "Hey, somebody said this about you."
Now, Glenn Wool, I've written about you before. Tell me you read that.
Of course, I read
Okay.
that guy.
So you don't read the other press.
That's right. No, I don't even count you as press.
Okay.
That's just
Wait a
that's
second,
Just
is that a-
comedy class.
I think
man.
that's a backhanded compliment there.
Yeah, I don't even count you as press.
No, I didn't mean it that way, but I
Okay.
like that it could be used that way.
Right. I'll
Yeah.
use that as my quote.
Yeah.
Like everything else on earth, Wool has no equal. Did you like that?
Was that Moxie Fruvis?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, thank God, because I did like the song.
Oh,
but
good.
It's a real no-go area now. A little factoid that I didn't know, like I just because I left Canada for quite a long time, and I knew who Moxie Fruvis was. And
At the
I knew-
time you left, yeah.
Yeah, one of the reasons I left.
Oh, is it?
was the music, and then just when the Gian Gameshi thing came out, I was like, because
And you said, I got to get back to Canada.
yeah, if
They need
that's-
me.
if that's what's going down. And just utter shock when I was like, no way, that's the same dude. Oh, that's what he should be in prison for.
Moxie Fruvis, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was an artist named Ben. Don't know anything about him, but apparently British because he was talked about he needs a house in Bristol. Have you ever lived there?
I've spent a lot of time in Bristol. I'll be at the Hen and Chickens Theater, or there's a theater there. I'll be there in a few weeks, actually.
Really? So you're going back. So you've moved back to Vancouver, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that is correct. Because last time you were here, you were sort of in transit. You were you were in orbit.
Yeah, 5-year tour, man. Don't
5
ever do
years.
that. Kids out there, if you're ever thinking of going on the road for 5 years, nothing good comes of
Yeah, I
it.
remember now. You said when you were here that, yeah, it's great. You can just go from place to place. You don't need to have a home base because you tour all over the world.
Yeah.
So what's the point in having some place that you're never going to stay in because you're always out traveling?
That's right. And I've still got a pretty heavy travel schedule, but I'm at a point now where I don't have to tour all year round. And I actually, in retrospect, I never did have to do that, but you kind of get in a mindset and you're like, just fill the time, always be working. And even last year, which was the last year of the Monster, as I like to call that tour, I was taking time out and going on vacation and not working every night because it really I mean, I was lucky. I kind of got to the edge of that physical and mental breakdown, but there are definitely comics out there right now that cannot work right now because they just toured too much.
They cannot physically do it, you mean?
No,
or people don't want them.
Oh, they want them. They're some of the best comics in the world. But so I'm not going to mention any names. But yeah, they cannot work right now.
They're just burnt out, and doctors and lots of bad stuff. So you're part of the great UK comics diaspora of 2014.
Yeah.
Ron Vaudreuil moved here to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Tommy Campbell is back.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know why
You're
we've all
back.
gravitated. Well, I'm from here. I don't know what they're doing here.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, they could. I mean, I could have gone back to LA, but I just don't. I just didn't fancy living in America. And if you ever had a time where you were like, I wonder if I'd like to live in Canada or America. The lovely footage from Ferguson and New York has really said to me, yeah, you know what? Maybe I made the right choice.
But you were in LA. That's not really part of America.
Yeah. This, I think LA is due another race riot. I don't know. I haven't checked.
Yeah, they've had their share, I guess.
Yeah. It's not. It wouldn't be unheard of if
That's
another
right.
one bubbled to the surface.
So you did try it out down there.
Yeah. I got pretty far too. I had a show. Well, I got right down. We made the pilot, and the production company called me and said, "Yeah, we've gone to the head of network, and they've never been this happy about a pilot."
What
before.
was it?
Oh, it was for the History Channel. It was, I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about the ins and outs of it, but it would have been a program for the History Channel, and I would have been the host of it. And
So it was about UFOs then?
No, it was the one that
Isn't
wasn't.
that what-
Yeah,
Okay.
that's probably why they didn't make it.
Wait, this is historical. We cannot
Yeah.
have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I said you actually gave it a shot down there, I didn't mean professionally. I meant just living.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, sort of. I mean, I would go down for a pilot season. I did that for 3 years, and I mean, I still go back. I'll go back and do some of the cool shows and some friends' podcasts and stuff, and just dip in and be there for a week or two, and that's cool with me. I don't really, you don't really need to be anywhere nowadays. You know, it's like Sean Patton, a very talented comedian, was just in town.
Yeah, the mix.
Yes, and we went for a lovely walk around the seawall. Which, if you've got a very loud friend from Louisiana who's never taken a walk around the seawall, take him.
Has he ever gone for a walk?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You should. We're all old now. Patton didn't even have a drink this whole the whole weekend, and yeah, we're just we are middle-aged guys. We're just strolling around the park and yakking away on this. But what we said about New York was. And it's happening in London too, where people are, they're actually making movements that, you have to set rent prices and they can't raise, and these rents are ridiculous. And I'm just like, move.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing here? Like it's not 1932. You don't have to be right beside Broadway for my big break.
At some level, though, do you? Some level in, say, you're you don't want to be there as maybe a newbie comic, but just before breaking, like, is it better to be seen there by all the other great comics that are living and working there?
Yeah, but you don't have to live there to do that. You can just go in and out,
So you got to live close by, though.
Not really. If you look at the price of flights and
Oh, okay. Even that.
and, things like that, and the internet. The internet's going to get you seen more and get you out there more. So if that's what you want, if you want to be seen by networks, I'd say just stay, Detroit's giving away houses for free to artists.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, they're fixing them up and
But
going.
there's a catch.
You have to live there.
live in Detroit.
Yeah,
That's right.
but that's if I was struggling and upcoming, I wouldn't stampede to New York to pay those prices, you know, and I think that's the problem with complaint now. It's like, well, just don't complain, like forage your own way, and you know, if you don't like it, you don't have to, you know. I think we were babied too long as youngsters, and now we just figure if we ask nicely, could you please make the rents in New York good for all of us, please? You know, but I mean, that's what brought me to England in the first place. Not, you know, all those years back was it just was a better fit for me, and a lot of people were heading to the States and saying that was the only way. And the big thing was your green card, and you had to get that, and you had to get your work papers for the States, and that's what everybody was focused on. With all of us having, you know, pretty much all of us having British grandparents, and just the work papers there are just a couple of forms you fill out. But everybody's like, no, I know a lawyer, and there's a scheme, and we can all get in, and we have to pretend we're cobblers, but that's cool. We'll all be cobblers. You know?
You had a good run there over in England, because you
I love
left. It. You were like 3 years into stand-up, and then, if I remember the story correctly, you hit the jackpot, won the lottery.
$10,000. It wasn't
$10,000.
Yeah, you watch that price got raised through the grapevine.
Did it? The same guy who's calling you Jack Black? And
yeah. He's a billionaire from the lottery. Okay. He didn't take any risks. Like, I had 10,000 Canadian dollars.
But in 1995, that was worth probably 12.
It was worth less. The pound was $2.50.
Oh, was it? It was worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you did very well for yourself over there. And now the reason you left is, and like you and Vaudry and Campbell, well, I guess for different reasons for each one of you.
Well, me, I just wanted my base to be back in Vancouver. I'd be closer to my parents, and you know, and you just kind of miss Canada after a while. And I got to a place where, again, I do bigger gigs for more money. So, you know, you don't have to be there all the time. And I luckily,
you made a name for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not touring level yet. I mean, well, I did the Lumberjacks with Craig Campbell and Stuart Francis, and we did a tour of the UK. So I shouldn't say that I'm not that level, but solo tour would be a bit hard to sell. But I still go back and do Edinburgh. I'm doing Edinburgh again this year.
What's your theme this year? You always have to have a theme, right?
Yeah,
it's got to be a story.
It
can't be jokes.
Have to be. Everybody says that about Edinburgh. Like, that's the rules, right? Like, first of all, there is no rule. Like, anybody can do a show. So
you just got to give it a title.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
and then try to maybe have something to do with the title.
I think I got it. My title this year is "Creator, I Am But a Pawn."
Oh, talking to the great creator.
Well, that's sort of the idea where. I've had the last couple of years, I've had really funny things happen to me, but just like to the point, I'm like, is that for the benefit of somebody else? Like, that was too funny, and it was just me that it happened to. You know, is it my is it my inner monologue, or is it a demigod watching, going, okay, we're gonna introduce this into his life and see how he deals with that. So it'll be the ins and outs of that. That's the idea right now. I can
kind of like God giving you material. I'd just write that down.
That's what I mean.
I'd start transcribing quickly.
Yeah,
that's right.
In Aramaic.
Yeah, why not? On the tablet.
Yeah, that's how I knew it was God, when I transcribed in Aramaic.
So that when is that season? When is the Edinburgh Festival?
August, but I mean, I take off the big tour. The lead up to it'll start in May, and yeah, I'll be. I got a European tour in there, and more British gigs, and then you do previews all the way up into it, and you know, you get all the little the material together and how it flows, and you know, the spine and the arc and the payoff, and it's really It's a stressful time, but it's a fun time. I think it's when I'm most happiest in comedy, is when I'm getting a new show together.
And you don't have to move around; it's all in one place.
Well, I'll be.
I mean, for the Edinburgh Fest.
Oh yeah, yeah. By the time the fest comes, you better have that show together, or it's going to be a long month. But it used to be a bigger thing in my life, but now that I have the condo in Surrey. The prospect of staying one place for a month is I mean, it's still good, but it's not the oasis that it once was. Because that used to be the opposite too. Because all my mates from London, they like Edinburgh's the most stressful time in their life, and just the fact that I was landing for a month, for the only month of the year that I was actually in one place, I was I was quite.
You're chill.
I was really happy about it, and I think it helps the shows too, where you're finally eating your own food. You're not eating restaurant food. That restaurant food, I'm telling you, is it's the number one killer, man. Is I mean, the lifestyle's kind of bad across the board, but the inability to make your own food, because I now can make my own food.
What do you make?
Oh my God, I am gonna make someone a wonderful wife. I have been making cookies that are so good. I have been considering putting dog feces in them to stop me from eating all the cookies.
Yeah, you talk about restaurant food being unhealthy. What do you make? I make cookies.
Well, they've got oats in them and bran,
okay.
So it's not. They're not
good for breakfast.
That's right. And I bake my own bread now.
Wow, with one of those machines like bread.
No, man.
Naturally,
just like
naturally in the oven.
Baker. Yeah, bake it in the oven. It's not like if you bought it, you'd be upset. But like you'd take it back and go, that's not sellable. But if you made it yourself, then
and you smell it. Oh,
yeah. Well, it's also it's hard to make bread as big as they make it in the shops. So it's a really small loaf, and you have to slice it really thin and toast it. You couldn't eat it just on its own. But
maybe need some work on this.
No, I tell you what, it leads to smaller sandwiches. Which is healthy.
So you got to eat twice as many.
No, well, you have to put the effort of twice as many, but a lot of the time you just put the effort in one and go, you know what, I am full.
You're really embracing this Vancouver lifestyle, even though it's
right,
Surrey.
Man. Hey,
you're going for walks.
Yeah.
You're baking bread. You're going to yoga.
I know. You read the Facebook.
I did.
This sounds like an online dating profile.
That's
I
right.
would be a very desirable profile. If I was a woman looking through, I go, whoa, this
A worldly
guy.
man, too?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you would, and then once you enjoyed my company, and then I'd say, okay, well, I'm gonna go for 4 months. Is that cool?
Yeah.
You guys are all cool with that? No, I'll just be in Europe. The women there, I'm sure they'll show no interest in the performer. I'll be right back, honey.
And you're all nice and clean shaven now?
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, you got the stash and the whatever that other thing is.
Yeah, it's
What do you call
probably
that?
gonna go. I don't know.
Soul patch.
Yeah, it's a triangle. I can't, every time I go to shave it off, I go, just give it. But it's weird. It's turning white, and
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it looks like I've been eating a jelly donut, but it's not. It's just I'm aging.
Damn it, hey?
Ah, that's all right. Everybody's got to. It'd be weird if you didn't,
But it would be cool.
Well, I mean, it's in the realms of possibilities. But would you really want it, though? Like, I often think that about immortality.
You wouldn't want it if you were the only one doing it, right? You got to keep making new friends.
Well,
but
if you think about it, though, if we'd unlock that, then we couldn't have more people coming. Like, we don't have a planet to sustain that. So you'd actually just end up, everybody on the planet right now is going to be who's on the planet forever. And I guarantee you'd start getting sick of each other.
You've thought this through.
Not really. I just thought that now.
You've done the math.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
I had an epiphany, or Creator had an epiphany, and he spoke it through me.
So, hey, you had an album come out. When was that? It was pretty recent because it was recorded in Canada.
That's right. Yeah, back to
where?
Like a salmon. I laid my eggs back in Montreal.
What is? Did I write down the name of this album?
No Lands Man.
That's it. No Lands Man. Perfect.
Yeah.
Except for now, you have a land.
And Aasif Mandvi from the
Daily Show.
Named his book that, too.
Really? Which
Yeah.
came first?
Mine.
There you go.
Mine. And I got my manager to get it. Like, I've got a big big manager in America. She holds a lot of sway. She contacted the thing, and I wasn't trying to be mean about it. I just wanted I thought the best case scenario would be just us both go, we named something the same, and that's fine. But his management was just like, well, how long is this? Like asking me all these questions about the title, and I'm just like, you don't know how Google works? How long have you had this show for? Well, maybe if there only was this magical web that connected the planet, and you could see that. You ripped off a name, and because I took more interest. I thought, well, he's just an American dude. He's not going to have seen. No, he's from Bradford, And no, it was No Land's Man was one of the hits of the Edinburgh Festival. I would have done that 3 or 4 years ago now. That's when the show debuted. So, he would have had a lot of opportunity to see that title. And
maybe it just registered and he didn't even realize it.
Well, here's the thing. And every comic or comedic person I've talked to about this, everybody's on the same line, is I've never titled a show that I didn't Google. Ever. Mm-hmm. Once I came up with it, I go, okay, that is a good title. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh no, somebody else has that name.
Yeah.
But
I know. You know what? There are a couple other podcasts out there called What's So Funny? Regardless that we're not a big one, it's still, as you say, there's a machine. You can just Google it. We've been on the air since 2004, so we were first. But there are a couple others, including your buddy Ed Byrne.
Ed's got a podcast called What's So Funny?
Yeah, I don't know how long it lasted, but he did. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Ed in a while. I'll talk to him.
You talk to him.
It's done now.
but hey, this might pay off for you because Aasif Mandvi is selling books, and then people might be Googling and just see the title and then download. They might think it's an audio book, and they'll get your album.
That's right. Although I think it would be confusing because the album cover is it's my 8x10, but it was
looks
art.
demonic.
Well, it's Derek Riggs from Iron Maiden fame.
Oh,
he did my album cover.
Really?
Yes, it's one of the things I'm most proud of in my comedy career.
You asked him to design an album cover?
My record label did that, and he did so. He took my 8x10, and I actually had to field the email from Derek Riggs saying, "Is it okay if we make you a zombie and not a skeleton, so that you don't look too much like Eddie?" I was like, "Yeah, Derek,
awesome.
That's okay."
Awesome. So you recorded this in Canada? Where?
Just for Laughs.
Oh,
yeah, they do solo shows. They got a solo show wing now, and we managed to edit out the French bar staff that just talked loudly in French by the bar. Yeah, I had to stop the show a couple times, and they liked me too. But it was I did 3 nights in a row, and actually lost my voice. We were supposed to record
again
3 shows. Yeah, well, I'm going to get it checked out now that I got my health care back. What do you think my voice doctor's name is?
Geez, I don't know.
I'm not kidding.
Okay.
I know this is a Dr. Quack.
No.
And they call, well, they called and told me, they're like, "Yeah, you have an appointment with Dr. Quack at 2:30." And I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "We know."
Yeah.
And then she spelled it. She's Kwak, and I'm just like, "That's Quack." Don't spice it up. Make it worse. But I lost my voice for one of them, so I had to pull the show, and that's when I found out. And you can only get these in Montreal. They're vocal cord suppositories, and they work.
So
where do you insert them?
Yeah.
Where do you think?
Well, that's a long way to travel.
Well, it works. Apparently, It's all connected.
I just wondered if they were supposed to be taken orally because they're
Yeah.
for the I don't know.
My French is a bit rusty now that I think of it.
I would reread that package.
But I had the most crystal clear flatulence you'd ever heard.
Like
in your
angels.
life. Oh, it was lovely. No, it's true. And Adam Rich's, it was funny because I went in. I'd heard about them, and I went into the. I couldn't find them in in the pharmacy, and the woman working there, I was like, do you have vocal cord suppositories? Wait, it's Montreal too, so you just think, oh, this is just for laugh, and then the camera will come out, and she was like, no, this is and she went. Her next question is, are you a comedian? Like that, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, yes, another one of you was in today. And
Really?
so I went and tried one. Like, I went back to the room. I didn't just in a line. Okay, it's got.
I don't want to buy this until I know.
Yeah, let's see. A bit of hokey to me. And there's no manly way to put a suppository into yourself. We found that out. You have to.
Well, there is, but you don't want to do it.
Well, yeah. The thing I did, I pretended I was a big gun, and this is how I loaded myself. But no, they worked.
They did. So you could feel it over a course of hours.
It works for a couple hours.
And what does it do? It relaxes your vocal cords.
Yeah, I guess it just, or maybe you just focus on something else.
Yeah,
you got bigger fish to fry. But Adam Rich's, he had the best line about it, because he'd lost his voice too, and he said, when you put it in, it's like when Obi-Wan Kenobi was in the Death Star. Like you just knew something was wrong. There's a disturbance in the Force.
That is crazy. I'm going to Google that when I get home.
Yeah,
I don't think you're right.
Be careful Googling something like that. See what else comes up.
Yeah, Google what?
Yeah, what do you Google?
And then he fell into a YouTube rabbit hole that night, I'll tell you that much.
But your voice does sound pretty good.
I've had a couple of months off. I actually I did a little set the other night, and it came back like it seized up. So I don't know.
Well, stop yelling.
I know.
You're the preacher up there.
Yeah, I mean, and every time I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna knock that off. But you get a style, and it works for you. I mean, I'm smart about it. It's not as bad as it used to be. Like I can maintain my voice if I don't do all the other stupid stuff around it. Like if you don't stay up till 4 a.m. yelling in loud bars, you kind of got to.
And the carousing.
The carousing. That's really where the voice would go. But then again, like long festivals and stuff where I wouldn't be doing that, it would still go. So you just get older, And I'm sure I've probably got nodules, and I think that's what the doctor and quack will tell me.
Well, you know what? The first time I heard you speak, if I didn't know that you were from Saskatchewan originally and lived here, like you sound like a maritimer. You've just got that really wonderful, lovable kind of way about you. Yeah. I love it. Like, especially if you were over in England, they'd go, this guy is so Canadian. Well, you have a maritimer's lilt.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. It just, a lot of people think I'm Irish.
Yeah, well, that's it, because I'm Irish, and I go, I love his voice. I like him immediately.
Yeah, well, I used to, my girlfriend that I traveled with for a long time, she was Irish, but then she didn't.
She was here last time you were in.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that didn't.
Maybe that's it, though, but
how many years?
That wore off on you, the lilt.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
With 5 years, she was on the 5-year tour. How many years?
She was on there for 4 years. Yeah, we've been broken up for about a year now. A year and more, year and a half.
Sorry to bring this down.
That's all right. It's I miss her and wish her well, but it had run its course. She hated Vancouver, so that really wasn't going to work.
Oh, really?
Out. Yeah.
But how about Surrey?
Yeah, I never got a chance to show her.
I'm sure she would have loved.
Do you know what she said? Because I brought her here a few times, and I was angling, like going, I'd really like to move home. Yeah. And she's like, it rains too much in Vancouver.
She's from Ireland.
She's from Dublin. And come on, get out of the car.
Yeah, that's not going to work. We were talking with Glenn Wool. The show's What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM. I'm Guy McPherson, and Colleen Bro is behind the glass booth where she can't reach us. physically?
Court ordered.
Court ordered.
Yeah, I ordered him away from me, so don't assume.
Yeah.
And Glenn, you will be headlining Yuck Yuck soon, won't you?
Yeah, coming Friday and Saturday.
Oh, this coming week.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good. And I was glad I went out and did a few little shows here and there because, God, it's like a sport, or it's like an instrument. You can't just get back on stage. There's just a rust that forms that you got to shake off. But yeah.
So you've done some small nightly shows, but not your full
No, just
45 or whatever you're going to do at Yuck Yucks.
Yeah, no, I've got the regular show, and I'll probably throw some new stuff in, and it's also fun because for 20 years on the world circuit, I rarely ever get to play a hometown crowd, so it's actually exciting for me.
Yeah,
So I can talk about stuff that only they'll know about, and yeah, it's weird, and I always liked that I didn't have that parochial option when I was playing clubs everywhere. I just had
forces you to be better, more universal.
Yeah, but I get to come home. So.
Yeah, the last time I think you were headlining, was it the Mix at the time, or was it Yuck Yucks?
Would have been the Mix, I think.
Yeah.
Mark Breslin nicely called me up when I moved back to Canada. So it was the second day I was here. Hey, I've heard you've moved back to Canada.
Word
Would you
gets
like
out.
to-" Yeah, I thought I was, So
That's nice. And when did you move back?
the end of August.
Whoa. Yeah.
Is that the magic word?
You win.
The end?
We talked a bit earlier. We said how you're fitting into your new surroundings, and you took a yoga class. And what I liked, we read on Facebook or wherever it was that I read it, you said it's not as easy as it looks. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I took one once and thinking this is going to be a breeze, and the yoga instructor thought I was having a heart attack. Just because I was sweating so much and was kind of shaking, not being able to keep my balance. Yeah, I don't recommend it.
Oh, I really liked it, but I mean, like I said on the Facebook post you're talking about, I just it was hard, but it wasn't too hard. But a woman just 3 mats down was just she was groaning, every movement. Whoa, and then it turned 15 minutes, it's a sort of a high pitch, everything, and
How old was she?
Oh, 50 years old. I don't know. But because it was my first one, I was like, do we have to stop the class? This woman's in a lot of pain. And then they did one where the leg was flipping around and you had to relax your core, and then she did it and just let out a fart, and the most satisfied sound you'd ever heard in your life. And she didn't make any sounds the rest of the class. She just spent all that time I don't want, not in front of everybody. Oh, here it comes.
She didn't just pack up and leave right then?
No.
Carried on. And you were laughing?
No, and that's what I'm shocked about in retrospect.
See, you are getting older. You're more mature.
That is the first public fart I have not giggled at.
Apparently, it happens quite a bit in yoga.
Yes.
That's expected.
Apparently?
It's yeah.
Do you do yoga?
I've been once or twice. The same experience. There was
You
a person. No, the person. Just somebody the heavy
recognize
breathing.
you.
Wait a second.
Hey, I'm that 50-year-old. But I've heard that it's pretty common. It's a common thing because your whole body's relaxing.
Especially in hot yoga.
Yeah, and you just accept it.
You
I
don't want to be
don't.
in there in the hot yoga.
God, hot yoga. Oh, I can't imagine.
But my core is always relaxed, so I could do that pose. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's, it's for the amount of women that are into yoga and also have issue with breaking wind. I think it's funny. Now I know, you don't even look at me because I know what you do in that little room. You go in there and you sit on a mat and you fart. So we're all God's children. Right, Creator?
You're right. Another Facebook little mini essay of yours was about your New Year's Eve spent alone.
Yeah.
Now, get this. The best, this is no slight on any New Year's Eve I've spent with anyone else, but my most memorable New Year's Eve was I spent it alone with a copy of Infinite Jest. And that's what you did this year. And just sitting in a coffee shop, reading it. So I wasn't in a pool like you were, but was alone. And then I went to a movie by myself. It's the most enjoyable New Year's Eve I've ever had.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was on my road to that sort of self-examination, and I wasn't in a pool with the book. I was in a hot tub.
Okay. Right.
I don't like the book that much. And I was just sitting there because I had options to come into Vancouver and go to a house party, and my condominium complex has a pool and a hot tub and a sauna, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go down there. I hadn't heard from the party or the guy who was at the party, so I just thought I'll go down there and I'll steam and sweat and read this book, and then was just really having a nice time. I was in the sauna, and then the phone went off, and the guy's like, "Okay, here's the party," and I went, "Okay, I'm coming. I'm gonna just," and then. I sat because I hadn't started sweating yet in the sauna. I was like, okay, I'll stay in here for 15 minutes, get a good sweat out, and then I'll go to this party. And then I just went, no, I'm gonna it's already 10:30. I'm gonna get on the SkyTrain and go all the way into Vancouver. I don't know who's at this party. I mean, I like my friend, but it wasn't everybody I'd ever met in my life. It was just like a party I could go to, and I just said, don't chase it. Just be happy, don't leave this place, you're comfortable. Because it was deserted. There was nobody else in there. So it's like I was like my own little king in my own big mansion. And I really in my head said, don't chase it, and congratulated myself for it, and got in the hot tub. And as soon as I did that, the doors flung open and 6 young women in bikinis came in with a dude with a plate of Jello shots following behind them.
Thank you, creator.
Exactly. And I'm not okay. This is how large-breasted one of the women were. They were actually having a long conversation about her breast reduction surgery that was upcoming.
Just right beside you.
Just right beside me, and they were letting me chip in if I wanted to. What do you think, Glenn? In my head, what I said, well, a woman's back is, it's not a thing to mess with, and if you have to get it, well, you do that. But yeah, they were giving me Jello shots, and we paddled around, and then.
So you had your own little party after all.
I did, but it was it was like a bump from the creator, just a little okay. Just a little key of the Playboy lifestyle. Just get her right up there. There you go.
Now, did you finish Infinite Jest?
I have not yet. I'm on the page 600 right now.
Wow. I tried it twice.
Oh, you didn't get through?
Both times. I got around to page 100, and I remember somebody asking me, what's it about? And I said, I don't know. And then going, I've read 100 pages and I don't even know what this is about.
Do you want to know why I read the Infinite Jest or why I'm reading it?
Yeah.
I
love David Foster Wallace.
That is one. Well, the way I even heard of it, I was in Norway, I was in Oslo doing a comedy club, and of course I was the only English-speaking act on the show. And after the show, a beautiful woman, an absolutely drop-dead gorgeous woman who knew one of the other comics. She came up and said, I really enjoyed that. I'm from Finland, and you were the only one I could understand. So she said, do you want to come and sit with us? And her name was Pila, and she was sitting with Patrick. And Pila is a movie star, and she had lived in L.A. for a long time, or not a long time, and Patrick was a director from Norway, and he hated L.A. too. So we bonded on these, just stories about not enjoying our time in L.A. But Pila had she had the humorous ordeal. Like most people go to L.A. and nothing shakes and they just screw off. But Pila was getting work. She was in Hansel and Gretel, the Witch Hunter, like one of those big budget sort of, and she, she even said like it's not.
Is that the Meryl Streep?
No. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous movie. But she was,
Okay.
she was
in
in
a
it,
major
and
motion
she's
picture.
and then because she kept going for these roles and getting them, and she said she just couldn't stand the vacuousness of Los Angeles, and then she ended up auditioning for Fast and the Furious Part 7 or who knows, but she said it was for the major female role in the movie, and they sat her down. They go, okay, these 3 lines that we want you to deliver, they are the essence of the character and what you need to bring to the role. It's very important to the arc of her. And one of the lines was, "Gentlemen, start your engines." So she's looking over the lines, and then the casting
What's my
director-
motivation?
Exactly.
Yeah.
To make the cars start. And she's just, she's fuming. She's a really intelligent, beautiful woman, and just, doesn't want to do this. And in the middle of that, they just went, and she's looking over the other lines. They go, "Oh, can you get up and show us your ass too? Like, just turn around." So she got up and did show them her bum as she walked out the door, and threw the script, the script in the garbage as the door.
How did they ever replace her? And then she moved back to
Finland, where she's raising her young daughter. She's getting a ton of. She does work in Europe. She's an amazing human, and her and Patrick took me to a cowboy bar in Oslo on Halloween. So it was a bunch of Vikings dressed up like Raggedy Andy, listening to Reba McEntire music. I was like, "Wow, these are just the coolest people on the planet." And we
Or
did.
not.
Yeah, no, they were. I mean, it could have gone the wrong way,
Yeah.
but we were talking about our favorite books, and she said The
right.
Infinite Jest, and Patrick's was one, The Stages of Death, or the How to Die, or it's my next one on my list, and mine was Confederacy of Dunces, which they hadn't read. So
I have not read that. Then again, I haven't read any of them because I only got 100 pages into. Now, Infinite Jest is like 1,000 pages or something.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's one of those ones like other books you read for a while, and then you're like, okay, what page am I on now? But the pages
much more
are
do I have to
so
go?
long and so dense. Well, I mean, it goes in and out of greatness. Like it really, when it's
he's
good.
fantastic.
But some of it is, whoa, come on. You just wasted an hour of my life and 4 pages, because that's how
That's
dense
right.
it is. And it was some game where they were flicking tennis balls, and it was the end of the world, and I don't know, Dave. If I didn't have the sauna hot tub combo, I don't think would have gotten as far in this book. But I do. I like to go down and sit in the hot tub and the sauna, and because I think that's the key to reading a difficult book is put yourself in a more difficult situation. Where what else are you gonna do? Just stare
So the
at
book
the wall?
seems easy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know that you can make you can get real connections with people in a comedy club.
Yeah, it's good, man. Like, it depends. Like it all, the better the gigs you do, the more chance it is that happens. But I've started to notice that watching Patton this weekend, Sean, he was bringing really good, really intelligent stuff to what I would have thought would have been a crowd that would have I think the North American comedy scene has changed for the better, and crowds are willing to hear better comedy. Just maybe that might change after my weekend at Yuck Yucks, where I'll go, I don't know what the hell's going on. But I think it might even be Might even be ahead of Europe a bit, where Europe's gone really, really mainstream because there's so much money in it to get on telly and just
There's so many shows there where comics can guest.
Yeah, but in a bad way, like just saying ridiculously banal things.
Is it also that there are so many more comedians?
No, I think they're just they just know what sells, and I mean, if they want to fill an arena, you're gonna have to have the whole family there, you know. So people angle their acts to appeal to a whole family, which is great, and it's hard. That's hard stand up to write. Although not a lot of them are actually writing their own jokes, but you know, it's hard to find somebody who can write.
Who's writing their jokes? Other comics?
Yeah.
Did you ever write for anybody?
No, I wrote for Frankie.
Frankie Boyle.
Yeah, just once, but now we do. We make albums together. We one just came out yesterday, actually.
A CD.
Or no, we just release them on the internet.
Yeah.
You could call it a podcast, but we go into a studio and we edit it, and it's not like we're not just. It's a bit podcasted, but we like to call them albums. It's called freestyling.
So you just talk to them.
Yeah, we just bounce. We come in with it's sort of like a live writing session where it's just, you know, we come in with concepts and then we build on each other's concepts. And there's a couple of them, like, because we record, like, I'll go to Glasgow for a week and just stay at Frankie's place, and we'll go to the studio for 2 or 3 hours. So we'll just get this massive material, and he sends them to me. I forget what they are. Like, I laugh because I can't remember saying it. Like, I was just there, but it's really good. It's one of the things I'm most proud of.
Where can we get it?
Go to Frankie Boyle's website, and it's available for free.
Free? Why?
Frank doesn't need the money, and we couldn't figure out like we could have charged for it, but I just, you know, he didn't want to. So
That's good. What's he like in person?
Great guy, absolutely great guy. One of my best mates. So,
yeah. Is he misunderstood?
Yes.
What's the misconception?
That he's evil, and he's not. He's a millionaire socialist, like one of the real ones too. You know, he's just he's one of the smartest guys you'll ever meet, and that can play into it too, because I'm not. there's times where you can tell that he's just on the thing, like, no, Glenn, that's not actually what happened. But yeah, I think I read something about it somewhere. I don't know.
So people think he's evil because his jokes are often cruel.
But his jokes aren't cruel.
They're hilariously cruel.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always a point to it that people choose not to listen to.
Oh yeah.
Some of his tweets on Je suis Charlie stuff. I mean, go follow Frankie on Twitter. He is nailing it right now. He was reading. What was the one he just did? Because, I was very amused to read about the importance of freedom of speech in the newspaper that tried to have me arrested and jailed for making a joke about the Queen.
Right. Yeah, he's almost getting in trouble like that. But, yeah, he's drawing the parallel there.
Oh, yeah, he said, I think the last place we should have had a rally for solidarity with France should have been Trafalgar Square. Yeah, Napoleon. Or,
I didn't get that one. See, he is smart. Or
no,
I'm very dumb.
The wars. It's Nelson, or it's a war with France. That's Trafalgar.
Google it, people.
He said, it's nice. It's nice everybody's having a demonstration for freedom of speech in Trafalgar Square and not in Parliament Square, where they'd be arrested for it.
Right. So you're a man of the world, Glenn Wool. And by the way, he is our guest this week on What's So Funny, CFRO 100.5 FM. Glenn Wool is here. Man of the world, play all over the world. Does travel broaden the mind? That's what most people think. You must have a unique perspective on this.
Yeah, I think it does. But yeah, I mean, you have to do it right, though. There's so many people that go backpacking and end up drunk on an inner tube floating down a river and think they've seen Cambodia, And I mean, you have, sort of, but um, make sure you do the other stuff too. Like you gotta go and see Angkor Wat. You gotta make the effort, and you gotta do. That's one thing I realized too. You gotta do the tough parts too. Like I went to Hiroshima last year. That's not easy, man. That's not easy. And they like Ground Zero. There's a peace park there, but they kept one of the existing structures up, and yeah, I happened to be there on a day where a light snow was just coming down, and there's like a burnt out, it's like a twisted husk of an old concert hall that was in Hiroshima, and just to see that, if you just sort of angle and take everything out, I mean, you're watching what it would have looked like on the day,
Right. Well, the reason I asked that is because there was a poll done.
Okay, thank God. I thought you were referring to someone.
Who,
I don't know what his name was, but he liked the vodka, if you know what I mean.
not that poll. There was a poll done. 60% of respondents said no, it doesn't broaden the mind.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Where was the poll taken?
In England.
Yeah, well.
I think it's the people who take a year off before going to university. Just to go travel. Yeah, as you say, it's how you do it, though. You can go and just get drunk with your friends all the time, which you probably have done too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could be mind expanding too. Probably not with booze, but there's other things you can do.
You don't want to do that in every country, though, Glenn.
No, you don't. But
Were you careful that way? Because a lot of countries, for their drug laws are very severe.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I was going to get thrown in jail. And
jail would be the best outcome.
yeah,
I guess not getting caught. Would
going
be,
into Indonesia, into Bali, and there's a big. This is the big story from. Is it No Land's Man? Yeah. I can't tell you. This is the big. That's
on the album.
Behind, yeah. Yeah, buy the album if you want to hear a story about me going into Indonesia with and getting stopped by customs agents because they said they found cocaine on my hands, but they hadn't.
They hadn't.
Yeah.
But we can't say what it was. We got to go and buy the track. 99 cents. Right. Or buy the whole album. $9.99.
Buy the album. Come on.
No Land's Man.
That's right.
By Aasif Mandvi.
That's right. The more albums you buy, the more I can float around in that pool and finish the Infinite Jest. I don't have to go anywhere.
Okay. But what about other, you travel so much. Have you had just horrible experiences either at the border crossing or some terrible, dangerous. I want to live vicariously through you because I don't get out much.
Yeah, but I've often wondered about the bad experiences because those are the ones that end up in the acts. So.
Right. So there are no bad experiences.
Yeah, well, maybe we're waiting for it. I'm sure it's coming. Hey, I'm sure I'm tempting.
Everywhere you feared for your life.
Yeah, I got caught in a riptide in Perth or in Western Australia.
What were you in? Swimming?
Yeah, me and the sound guy were out, and the rest of Deanne Smith was there. I'm sure you've had Deanne on the show.
No, I have not.
A funny young comedian, I believe from Boston, but she lives in Montreal.
Oh, Deanne.
Yeah,
I know Deanne Smith, but no, she hasn't been here. I thought you said Dan Smith.
Oh no,
yeah.
She was on the beach with the other comedians and the road manager, and me and the sound guy were swimming around, and it was just awesome. It was like the waves were crashing, and I actually said to him, I go, this is the most fun I've ever had in my life. And just at that point, the sea just sort of like that, but I didn't know what it was. I was just like, that's a weird wave. So I dug my feet into the sand.
So you weren't that far out.
Yeah. No, I wasn't like out in the ocean,
right.
But Stu, who was only 5 feet away from me, he wasn't strong nor manly enough like me to defeat the sea with just my leg muscles. But yeah, because I didn't know it was a rip, and apparently you're not supposed to fight it. But I just dug in and then popped out of the water, and that got me out of the rip. But Stu, he's just such a cool dude. He's a cool Aussie. He's just like, oh man, but I think I'm in a rip like that. And Stu's on his way to India. So I run onto the beach, and there's a dude with a surfboard, and I was like, "Oh, can you help me? My friend's caught in a rip. He's going out to sea." He's like, "Yeah, I'll see it." And he starts paddling out to go get Stu. So I run up to the group, and the tour manager there is a very lazy man, and so Stu's coming back on the tip of a surfboard with a random dude. I go, look, man, you got to get a couple of free tickets. I want to get that guy, he just went and got Stu out of the sea. And he's like, oh, I don't know. I'd have to make a few calls. And to this day claims that he didn't understand what had happened. Like, Stu just sometimes comes in on the tip of a surfboard. Like, yeah, I don't know, but I like a surfboard ride.
So yeah, it was more dangerous for Stu than you, but
Well, if I'd been 2 feet away and yeah.
You notice there's a theme here. Every time you think of something, bam, 6 women come in bikinis, or you get, a riptide comes in and almost takes you away to India.
Yeah.
Right? Both times you're just thinking of, oh, this is great. Here I am. I'm giving in, and then the creator comes in and moves his pawn.
That's right.
It's like the big foreshadowing line in a B movie, like, oh, could this get any worse?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
this is fabulous. This is my favorite day ever. And then,
That's right. You never know you're in a horror film till
Until
you
someone
take
says.
till you take a spear gun through the throat. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have said that. I remember the last European tour I went on. It was just when Ebola was at its like the mega, like, oh my God, is it gonna go? And it was funny because I did a tweet. I said, as I prepare for my European tour, the news talks about Ebola in the background, like foreshadowing in a bad movie. Mm-hmm. And it got like 35 likes, all from comedians. Like every I know what you're talking about there. I'm worried about it too. I got to get on a plane also.
Oh, don't cough.
Yeah. Oh, I flew back from Vegas. I was with my cousin, and there was three seats, and there was my cousin there, and beside her a young lady from Africa, and then another sort of middle-aged woman, like from Lethbridge or something, had that kind of look to her, and the poor girl from Africa had a cough of some sort.
No.
Oh,
And my cousin was
Poor dear.
cool about it, but the lady from Lethbridge, I thought she was going to crawl into the luggage rack. Like, just every cough that came, because it was right at Ebola time, too. And she just sort of...
yeah.
Oh.
Body language.
She was doing her own yoga. She was twisting her legs and twisting everything up. And
But
what do you do?
you weren't that close to her?
I was sitting beside her too, but I was across. Like, that's how you fly with somebody. By the way, if you got 2 people, unless it's your girlfriend, you take the 2 aisle seats across from each other.
Smart.
Oh, yeah.
And why? Are you hoping that then somebody will take the window seat and you have a seat in between? Or you just both... Because some people like the window.
I like the window.
Yeah.
I like the window. It's a sleep.
It depends.
Exactly.
But that's kind of neat. You both have an aisle seat and you can talk and,
Yeah, and you're not forced to interact with somebody too, especially like that's
Good
my cousin,
point.
so I didn't I can talk to her all the time, but I just find that's the best way to do it. I've got when I just flew back from London, I my other trick is I check in online and I sit right at the back of the plane, and I've had this happen before. You get the full bench because if you don't check in online, they fill it from the front. And I've gotten the whole 4-seat bench on more than one occasion.
But you're sitting by the toilet.
Don't care.
Okay.
Don't care. I'm lying down. I'm sleeping by the toilet. So I got it, but I've had this happen before too, where it was quite a full flight. If you don't stretch out in time, somebody will come and sit there, and you can't tell them not to. So as soon as the seatbelt light goes off, I was just boom, like I had all the armrests up, and I was laying out to the point where I heard a woman coming down the aisle, and she's like, "There's a hole," like that. And then there was the bench in front of me, and there was a guy, a rookie, who
Rookie flyer.
that's right. He had neglected to lie down, and she just sat, and I could see his head and kind of like, "Are you allowed to? I was just gonna have my lunch and then lie down." And so I kept an eye on this, but I was like, I'm going to go to sleep. And I slept for about 4 hours. And then I woke up, and I could see the guy kept looking back at me. And I was like, okay, I think if I get up and have a pee, I think this guy is going to try and sit away. And like, I think he's going to try and get in on my bench. So,
Because you legally only have one of those seats.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what I thought he was trying, but I just thought,
I'm going to
I'm
keep
not.
it in.
Yeah, well, no, I'm getting up, but I had sort of my hackles on, and I got a game face. If you want to play, I can
I
play.
believe it.
Man.
And I get up, and he goes, "Excuse me," and I went, "What?" Like that, and he went, "Are you Glenn Wool?"
Oh.
And then I was taken aback, and he went, "Are you Glenn Wool?" And I was like, "No, it's me, son. It's me. I'm not.
And
I'm
don't
not that
sit here."
famous. Yeah, it's me. And I'll kill you anyway, even if you know who I am.
It's
My
for
one
my
fan.
entourage.
Yeah,
Was that Bobcat Goldthwait?
yeah.
Sounded a bit like
Do
him.
you know I just had opportunity to meet Bobcat in Galway, Ireland. We did a comedy festival together, and we were on a mixed bill. And I've always liked Bobcat Goldthwait. I think he's absolutely talented. So I was very excited to get to meet him. But it was one of those ones where we're just standing by the side of the stage, and we know we're both on, but we haven't actually met. And a guy was up before me. He's a really talented comic named Danny Dowling, but he's weird. Like, he's a weird guy. He does weird stuff on stage. He was doing a meat draw out of a raw chicken, like a whole raw chicken. He had like things in it, and it was dripping blood.
Is that
down
what
his
people
arm.
won? They won the chicken.
Well, I think that was the joke. And Danny's got a really sort of dedicated crowd. But it wasn't going great, and it's such a long bit, but you can't really go anywhere if you can't like go into the easier meat draw material. Like, you're just stuck with a bleeding chicken on your arm, trying to get somebody to put their hand into a raw chicken. And there was, because there was going to be a band on, a couple of improv troupes too. There was about 4 mics on the stage, and Danny, he'd had his few scoops, I'll be honest with you. I think he'd been a little nervous at the situation, and gone, and he kept, like, he was grabbing all this raw meat, and he kept going to each microphone and grabbing it and talking into it. And we were all just standing by the stage going, "That one's down. That one's down." And he's on the 4th one. And that, having never met Bobcat Goldthwait in my life, I was able to turn and go, "Hi, Bobcat. I'm Glenn. There's raw chicken on all the microphones." And he just went, "Duly noted." And then he actually went up with a little hand sanitizer. And
Oh, man. Just kept it in the stand all night.
He did. Yeah.
And
We
you?
all-
didn't care.
we cleaned. I think we had them cleaned. I think there was a break or something, but or I'd been on. I can't remember. But Bobcat was very funny, and he told that story about the airplane. I believe that's what you were referencing.
No, it wasn't. I was just because when you said, "Are you Glenn Wool?" it sounded like Bobcat Goldthwait. I don't know any story of Bobcat Goldthwait in an airplane.
He almost it's his closing bit. It's hilarious. It's one of those bits that's so funny. I'd heard it. Augie Smith had told me because it was just a story that Bobcat had. So I'd heard it secondhand and then was able to hear it. It's a classic.
We got to download it on his album.
I would. I can't remember it well. I mean, I'd had a few scoops too, if I'm totally honest with you. It was a comedy festival in Ireland. What do you think happened?
Are you all sober now? I mean, not right tonight.
Yes, I'm sober right now, guy. Jeez.
In general?
Sober-ish, yeah.
Ish. Okay.
I've definitely slowed down. I'm just...
You're tired.
Yeah, I just don't need to drink every night anymore. That's not... I'm enjoying. I'm a little concerned what's going to happen on the road again.
Oh, that you might slip into that.
Yeah, but I think I'll be all right. It's because I got in 2 weeks' time. I got to go to Paris to do David Lynch's private club.
He has a private club in Paris.
Yes. And I will be. I will actually become a member of said private club for doing these gigs, and then I've got to go to the Alps and do a run of gigs for a
Swiss
man,
Alps,
French Alps for a man humorously named Richard Lett,
but not the
Richard Lett. It always makes me laugh, but. And the Alps has been. I mean, I've done some insane things on that stretch of gigs before. I've almost been caught by the police with things I shouldn't have had in my pocket. But yeah, do you know what I was able to do? It was on a packet of gum, and the cops shined a light, and it was me and my buddy in a bus stop, like out back of this tent that the comedy was on in, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Or like at first it was French, and then I was like, "Je m'excuse."
Je suis Canadian.
Yeah, just. And they're like, "What are you doing?" Like that, and I said, my buddy here wants to talk to a girl. He doesn't know how, so I'm just telling him, have a piece of gum. So I was able to pick up the gum packet and take it out, and because you won't have fresh breath. And they're like, "Okay, that's a weird story, but it's not illegal."
And it's not true either.
Yeah.
Wow. So hey, but who's members of the David Lynch Private Club?
I don't know, man. I just got the gig.
I
don't think he'll be there. He might be. I don't know. But it's me, Tony.
He'll be
Law,
working the door.
Yeah. Yeah, he's hosting.
Hey, did you do a show on at Everest? Were you one of those comics?
Show. That didn't happen because
with Stuart Francis
yes,
and Craig Campbell.
That's in October. I'll be doing that
at the base of Mount Everest.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. Have you ever been there?
No, just the top. I don't do the base. I've never stopped at the base. I just go right through to the top. And
so, but was this supposed to have happened earlier?
Yeah, it was supposed to happen last year.
What happened?
There was a big avalanche and a big storm, and some Sherpas sadly died. So
because you were at the base going, "This is perfect. Nothing could happen."
Yeah,
and then the avalanche came.
Creator. Yeah, and I'll have to go to the Excel Center in London and do a talk about it. Right after the Alps gigs. So
talk about the Everest.
Yeah,
gig.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I don't know how.
So you're still traveling around. Glad you're making your base here in Lower Mainland, we'll say.
Yeah.
Vancouver.
No, I'm making Surrey cool, man.
Are you?
Yeah, you guys are the new Surrey. I'm the new Vancouver.
Yeah, any shows out in Surrey?
I don't know.
Remember there used to be that club out there.
Laugh Lines is still there.
No, that's in New West.
That's two stops on the tube, Sky Tube.
Okay. It's still a different city.
Oh, you know what? The Comedy Cave. That's what you're talking about.
That's right. Yeah.
That, I used to, when I was a youngster living in White Rock, I used to drive to the Comedy Cave and just stand out front of it and just think, yeah, I want to be a comedian.
Really? Like how old?
Oh, 13.
Yeah.
No, I was driving. So.
I don't know. It's Surrey.
Yeah.
There's no laws there.
No, it would have been about 17 years.
But
yeah,
you couldn't get
17,
in.
18.
You couldn't get in.
Oh, I would go in the middle of the day, kind of, and just look at it and go, yeah, that's where I want to be.
Who's the first comic you ever saw?
Oh, Bill Cosby.
Really?
Yeah.
He's doing well.
I know. I only saw half the show because I took a sip out of my drink. Next thing I knew.
Oh, that's
Nice
disappointing.
robe, Bill. Yeah.
Terrible. I read
Oh,
that-
don't act. I'm not the bad guy in that story.
I know, yeah, exactly. Shame on you, Glenn. But I remember you wrote that you were like 12 years old and your parents took you to your first comedy show and it was Bill Cosby and you went, boom,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to be when I grow up, just like Bill.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly like
And
Bill.
do comedy too.
In my first album, that was recorded in Chicago many years ago now. Well, not that long ago, but anyway, there was a young local comedian opening for me, who was really good. That's what I remember, like just going, "Geez, I'm gonna have to like, okay, there's no screwing around now." And he does the intro on the album "Let Your Hands Go," and that intro was by a young Hannibal Buress.
Really?
Yes,
Well, it comes full circle,
it
doesn't
comes
it?
full circle. And my parents usually like to hear stories of things that they'll understand about my career. Like, a lot of the times it's like, well, Doug Stanhope said a nice thing about me in England, and they're like, "Well, is he your insurance dealer or
Is he your flatmate?
Yeah, but I thought and I told them like that, and that's the guy. That's the guy who got Bill Cosby in all that trouble, and they didn't seem impressed. I thought still, he should be applauded for that. That was.
I interviewed Hannibal a few weeks ago, months ago maybe, just as it was starting to break.
Oh,
It was
right.
like 2 or 3 weeks after. And so, people were talking about him and making the connection. And his publicist wrote me the day before and said, "Oh, by the way, there'll be no questions about Bill Cosby."
Yeah, well, I've noticed that. Like, I've made a few jokes online, and he's not liked any of them. And sometimes we have a favoriting back and forth when we see things, and yeah. So I don't know. I haven't talked to him I haven't talked to him since it happened, so I don't know how he feels about it.
You should get him to open for you this week at Yuck Yucks.
Yeah. Well, he's not answering any of my calls.
He's coming here to the Northwest Comedy Fest in a couple of weeks.
Is he?
Yeah. So
When's
there you
that?
go, Glenn. When is the festival?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up right
Oh, but you have some
now.
tickets to some shows,
Well,
Colleen.
I was going to go to, I did buy tickets,
When is that?
John Mulaney.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Uh,
Big John.
I buy the tickets and then I go, and then I check and I realize 2 days before, I'm going to this show. So I don't know. I can look it up.
February. It's in February.
It's in February, like mid-February or.
I might be in France.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well. Glenn, you're traveling all over, and I'm glad that you're here, at least for a few weeks, so that you could come in and talk with us.
Yeah, it's been great to be back. I like your new venue, the old one on the corner of Heroin and Vane.
Yeah. You didn't like that?
Oh, it was good for me.
They were your people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is much more pleasant.
Yeah, it was sort of like a mall, a one-stop shop. To do the interview and what's on the menu today, fellas?
So you can buy Glenn's album, No Land's Man, on iTunes or maybe somewhere else.
You can go to Stand Up Records website if you want the physical copy with the Derek Riggs.
Oh, yeah, the artwork.
The artwork. That's what I would be getting.
And Glenn is also going to be at Yuck Yucks in Vancouver on Friday and Saturday. If you're listening to this on podcast, he's already played there. And
And he killed.
and he killed.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. I outed Hannibal Buress as a rapist. I was the one who started that.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's how I do it. That's how I do it differently. I like to out people that aren't rapists.
That's hey, you gotta get your own niche.
I get sued a lot.
Glenn, thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you.
Great
I
to
didn't know
see
you could play the guitar.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I know. Pretty good. Next week, our guest will be a guy who does the best Richard Led impression you've ever heard.
Richard.
Oh, that was pretty good, too.
All years on the road, they'll all sound like Richard.
Garrett Clark will be here. He's off to L.A. shortly after that, moving down there. And then in 2 weeks' time, Tanya Lee Davis, another international act.
I know. Say hello to Tanya for me. I might find her in town and take her for a beverage.
Sweet. All right. Talk to you next week. Thanks, Glenn. Good
Yeah.
night.
Bye.